And then I'll go to Daniel like, hey, what project are you working on, man? Like, let me in. Because you got to be hungry. You can't sit there and expect people to give you everything that you need to do your job properly. And that's where building relationships is key, right? Just go talk to people. And when you're new is the best time because it's like your honeymoon period. Like nobody can get mad at you. You can be like, hey, I'm new. I want to know what you do at the organization. You got 15 minutes? And oftentimes, like, unless they really, really don't, nobody turns that down. Right? Because they also want to be a team player. So this is the time, and even what I tell students is spend like half an hour a week when you are on the job just for networking. And that's trying to talk to people that you don't normally talk to, or talk to people that are in your meetings, but you don't generally get to like connect with them one-on-one. And that's how you learn who they are. That's how you learn what they do. And that's how you learn how to navigate within the company, because your first job, wherever you end up, you're going to end up there. But where you take that first position is on you. Does that make sense? Where you end up in your first job is not on you, but where you end up, that's on you, which means that you need to network with people within the organization, because you may hate where you are, the department or the job, but there may be better opportunities in different departments. And you won't know that unless you start talking to them and understanding what they do. And even if there's no job for you in that department, they may recommend you to another one where there may be a better job for you. And that can only happen when you network. That can only happen if you say, let me pick on somebody that doesn't have their camera on. That can only happen if I go to Dipti and Dipti, what are you working on? What do you need help with? What do you do day to day, Dipti? I'd love to know what your day-to-day job is. And what is your role on the project? And what other projects is your department working on? But I can't do that if I haven't taken the time to talk to Dipti and ask her about how her day is, or ask her about, what hobbies she has, or, or anything like that. So networking is key. Ask for help. If you guys, again, this is once you are in a role, if you get assigned to something and you don't know what to do, ask for help. So we have the mastermind program, so I'm always going to be there for you. But you also need to ask your manager or coworkers for clarification if you don't understand, especially your manager. So let's say you get assigned to something and you're not clear on what the next step is, you need to ask right away. Don't sit there and wait on it. This may seem like something really, really obvious, but a lot of newer BAs make this mistake where they don't ask for clarification and they kind of just wait it out. And that's not a good look. So obviously you always have me, but and most of the time in my conversations with students that just transition, they'll explain the scenario, they'll ask me how to do something, and most of the time it's like, okay, but you need clarification on these things, like 1, 2, 3, right? So again, I'm always going to be there, but don't feel hesitant. If you need help, don't wait too long, because that's a bad look on you if you just are not producing or asking for clarification. Either you need to produce or ask for clarification. You can't just sit there, right? Address any concerns that you may have behind closed doors, right? That means that if you have an issue with somebody, don't try to address it in the open. Again, it seems really common sense, but a lot of people do this in open forums. If you're irritated with somebody for whatever reason, don't backlash at them in a meeting with others. If you have a situation or a scenario, talk to them one-on-one. I've done this many
I
times
have,
myself.
I I have a question.
Uh-huh.
What do you mean by create win-win situations?
Win-win situations are things like where you will benefit and the other person will benefit. So maybe if somebody has to, do something that's due on Friday, and that's definitely, needed on Friday for the project to move forward, maybe you can offer help to work on that together. So it's a win-win because that person will meet their deadline and you're learning as well. And you're becoming a team player. So create situations where everybody wins.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. I've said this prior as well. Provide frequent updates if something's not something isn't something that could be done right away. Give them a time frame, give them updates so they know that you're working on it. Plan for meetings, have an agenda. So often newer BAs, they generally schedule meetings and don't have an agenda. Generally, when you're scheduling meetings, you know what you're going to be talking about. So put an agenda in there. So that way your team members or stakeholders that are joining know what you're going to be talking about. Okay. Examples, when getting feedback of any type, positive or negative, accept it with a neutral, from a neutral place, and say thank you. If you don't reply, if you don't rely on judgmental comment, you can't get into the argument. Okay, so these are just some examples. So like you may get positive or negative feedback. You always have to come from a neutral place, right? Otherwise it may get bad. And if you think that it is a negative comment, ask for examples so that you can better understand and get better at those things, right? The question to ask yourself when making disruptive or critical comments about someone is it true, right?